I want to welcome y'all to another episode here of As a Man Thinks podcast. I am JT, and today's topic is, I was thinking about this, and me and my wife we always have these interesting conversations, and we were discussing the fact of people who stay in relationships too long or stay in a job too long or anything of that nature that you stay in that you're really not that happy. But we mainly were talking about the aspect of being in a relationship and you don't know where it's going because for whatever reasons people do. Give you a little backstory about myself and how I didn't wait a long time to know what I wanted when I married my wife or asked her to marry me. I went into the relationship or trying to find her with the intent on dating somebody, getting to know them, discussing our life's goals together, aspirations, all the stuff that makes up a relationship. And I found somebody who had similar interests. She looks damn good, so that wasn't hard. And I asked her to marry me, and that happened within a year. And so we, hear about some things, or I do. So I hear about some things, know some people, that, if you're in a relationship, and I may know one person in the relationship and they have desires to either be married or maybe start a business with the person, have kids, and the other person they're not on the same page. So with that said, it's kind of a tricky subject on approaching somebody that you've been with, say for instance, you've been with them 3, 4, 5 years and you had every intention, and say you are, a little older, you're not in your 20s anymore. So you may be 40s. I know I was 41 when I got married, I believe. Yeah, it's 41. So I was, late bloomer on the marriage tip. It was my first marriage. It was my wife's first marriage. So say, for instance, you're my age, and you don't want to date somebody 4 or 5 years before, you either know she's the one or you're waiting on a guy to ask you. So my reasons for saying this is you have to ask yourself, what are your whys? And, you could run down a list of why you like somebody. Hey, if it's a woman, hey, he's a responsible man. He's a provider. He stepped in to be stepdad to the kids. I know where he's at every day, whatever, but he hasn't proposed. How long would you wait? You have to ask yourself if your desire is to be married, or say, for instance, you were younger and you want to have kids, and the person that you were with was just like, I don't want kids right now. How long would you be willing to wait, hang around in a relationship, to see if that person would give in to what you wanted? Now, when you get into relationships, as always, you have to drop your ego at the door. As far as men like myself, a lot of things that I used to do growing up, it was based off of what somebody thought about me, my ego. If I was, if people see me as, other dudes see me as tough and not weak. So that was like an immature mindset of thinking that way, because I shouldn't have cared about what anybody thinks. I should just live my life the way, whatever choices I want to make. So in a relationship, you're in the relationship and it's been that long, that 5 years, and the person still hasn't asked you to marry them, kids, business, saving money, I don't take a vacation, whatever. Like I said, your why, you're in the relationship, it has to outweigh, your overall happiness. Men, myself, speak for me, I wouldn't be with anybody for, there's no specified time I have that I had to ask my wife to marry me. There was a time that I had in my head, a roundabout time, regarding if I knew she was the one or not, if I seen a future with her. I just didn't want to date anybody to be like, oh yeah, man, let's, hang out, let's go eat, go to parties, date parties, whatever, let's have sex, let's do all that stuff, but there's no future in it. That's like empty. In my head, that would have been an empty relationship, because there would have been no future in it. It's like empty calories. Me and my wife, we try to eat well. So we always tell ourselves, don't waste the calories like empty calories. And we refer to alcohol, because alcohol is empty calories. There's no nutritional value, but they still count towards your daily total. So in a relationship, relationships, why would you want to consume empty calories? There's no benefit for it. You can say, people say, well, I'm having sex, man. I'm getting it in. You see her booty? Yeah, okay. Sex lasts for however long it lasts, but are you having sex 24/7? I don't think that's humanly possible. So what are you going to do when you're not having sex? Like, if all the lights were out, y'all can't see each other, you land in the bed, there's no money being spent, there's no TV on, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to do? So if you don't have the relationship that you want, then, like I said, I went in knowing. But if you are in a relationship already, you may want to just take a step back. I spoke about this in my last episode about looking at things without having rose-tinted glasses on. And that means looking at things and perceiving them, making them bend to what you think is reality. But you have to look at things objectively. And so you have to see it for what it is. If you know you got a guy and you know him, you've been with him 5 years, pretty much know him. Maybe he got a lot of money. Maybe he got a big dick. I don't know. Maybe he is a provider. Maybe he's a good stepdad, or maybe he's a good father if you have kids. And you don't want to let that go because you're thinking, oh, man, I don't want to take a chance on leaving this guy and going out there trying to find somebody else. But if you're not happy, then what's the trade-off? You're going to trade your happiness. You don't have one life to live. You're going to trade your happiness because you just want to be comfortable. And a lot of people can become complacent. They become comfortable. I'm not leaving. I put in too much time. I'm not finna. Basically, I heard this old lady say this one time. I'm not finna warm the slot machine up for somebody else to come stick a quarter in and hit a jackpot. And so if you guys been together all this time and you've taught him some things. He showed you some stuff and y'all have, kind of helped each other. And then you leave and now the things that you've shown him, he gets to share with the next person and they may have a happy life together. It's always a chance, but that's, like I said, the wise on how long is too long, especially I've known some people. I remember when I was younger, one of my dad's friends, they were together 20 years, but before that, my own parents. Yeah, I forgot about this. So my parents met in high school. I think it was they're about their junior year. So they graduated in, I think they met like in 1970. And they got married. They were together. I was born 4 years later. And then they got married in 1983. Yes, 83. So from the time they met each other till they got married would have been around 13 years, maybe a little, somewhere around there. And I asked my dad one time, when they got married, I was like, well, why did you wait so long to get married? I thought they were already married. I didn't know. That wasn't the case. They were not married. And he said, well, I knew your mama wasn't going nowhere. And I was like, but that's not a good reason. That's not a good reason to me. Just because somebody's not going to go anywhere, like, does that mean that you can just like kind of hold back and wait around? And to me, that's BS, so I didn't take that from him. I was in relationships and pretty much after 2 years, maybe, it fizzled out. I didn't want to be with them anymore, or whatever the reason was. But I knew I didn't want to waste that person's time. I wasn't going to have them hanging around. And, if the person I was with had, they told me, hey, I want to have a kid or I want to be married. And for me, I like being married. So I'm going to talk about that like for a minute here. I like being married. I like the fact that I stepped up, I believe in God, and I did what the Bible is saying. The Bible says to, you find somebody to live with. Find somebody to love, share your life with, you want to multiply, all these things. I just believe, since I do believe in the Bible, I'm going to live by it. So I'm not going to be just dating people, having sex, without being married. Now, of course, before I got married, I had sex. Don't get it twisted. But there just was a change in my life where I was like, you know what? My life is not going the way it's not going the way that I ultimately want. So I chose to be married. So when I shared this with my wife, my future wife or whatever, about my aspirations to be married, and I didn't just want to date. I didn't want to just do any casual dating. And I told her, if that's what you're looking for, I'm not the guy for you. We can be cool friends, hang out every now and then, but there wasn't going to be a future in that. So if you have asked yourself those questions, the whys, hey, and you made your list and you get, all this comparing and pros and cons, but then you still don't know what to do. You have to ask yourself this question. What are you scared of? Are you scared of what people are going to say about you? Are you scared of the financial part of it? Are you scared of just being lonely? You really have to sit, it's like the man in the mirror. You know, you have to look at yourself honestly and say, is this beneficial to me? Am I scared? Do I care what people think about me? Because if those things come into your mind, then you could possibly have another issue that has really nothing to do with why you're staying in the relationship. As oftentimes I come to find out that, if you keep asking a person questions, you can peel back the layers and get down to the real issue. And it could be something from a past childhood. It could be, from your childhood. It could be something from a past relationship that you have experienced, and you never dealt with it. And so now you're going from relationship to relationship, situation to situation, and you're making your decisions based off a past trauma or shame that you haven't dealt with. And it's ultimately affecting your overall happiness. I've known some people, they didn't have a dad growing up, so they looked for a guy like a father figure. So they may have dated somebody that was older, and maybe not, but they was looking for somebody to replace their dad. Nobody can replace anybody. They're their own person. I think I'm the best person in the world for my spouse, but I'm not her dad. I didn't birth her. I didn't help, not birth her. I didn't help to make her. So I could never be her dad, but I could just be who I am, which is the best version of myself, show up the best version of myself. And if she says that's not good enough, so be it. It's not a problem. My grandfather used to tell me, nobody could beat you doing your best. And at first I didn't understand that. I was like, but if I was playing basketball and I went out for the team and it's some guys better than me, but I did my best, but they beat me. And so I used to think that's what he was talking about, but that's not what he was talking about. What he was saying, what he meant rather, was that when I do my best, and if it's still not it, in like say in a relationship, as long as I know that I gave my best, I gave it my all, I have nothing to hang my hat on. I have, my head is not going to be low. I'm going to, if things don't work out, it could be a job. Like I said, this goes kind of with jobs too. I did my best. I tried, I worked, and it just didn't work out. And sometimes in life, things happen like that because you can't control another person. And just like you can't control somebody who is, you want to be married, you want to have kids, you want to start a business, you want to save money, you want to, whatever it is, you can't control anybody. So I've kind of laid out a few things about how I would handle it. If I was in the situation, about dealing with somebody and they just kept basically stringing me along. They stringing me along. I would know my worth. And you always have to know yourself, your self-worth. I've said this a couple of times. What are you ultimately willing to deal with, to put up with? Only you can answer that question. And I know a lot of people who are just dealing with things. They're just letting it go, but ultimately they're not. So in my opinion, they're not showing up as the best version of themselves in the relationship. They may have spurts here and there, boom, boom, like running a sprint race, but they can't run a marathon because they're ultimately not happy. So steadily going to bed, you're still, something is lacking on the inside. And in society, With the way social media is, people, guys and women are thinking, she don't want to talk to me, he don't talk to me, I'll just go get somebody else. It's easier to connect with people now because you can just reach out to somebody that stays 3,000 miles away from you, hit them in the DM, whatever. And you might get lucky. They might respond to you versus how it used to be where we used to have to go to a mall, have to go to a swap meet, have to go to somebody's party, go, you was in school or whatever it was. You had to actually leave the house to meet somebody. Now that's not necessarily the case. So it's people have learned to, they kind of know they got options. So the person that's not, just say, like I said, with the marriage, that's not willing to commit to the marriage, commit to being married, they may be like, I'm leaving my options open. I don't want to be tied down. I ain't married to her. I could just leave when I want to. I ain't got to fill out no paperwork. I ain't got to pay no lawyers. I'm good. And, there again, they may not believe in marriage. They don't, not to say they don't believe in God, but if you believe in God, then you're supposed to follow the Bible. So it's always, in discussing relationships, the aspects of it. And if you say if you are feeling this way, and then, you're trying to go talk, you want to go talk to your mate, but they're not the best communicator. They're not the best listener. They may get upset when you start talking and say certain things. That's a whole nother issue. If you can't communicate with your person your true feelings, that's not good. If you're with somebody, they're damn near your best friend. I know you could have other best friends, but this is the person you spend the most time with in your life, more than your parents, more than your kids. You spend it with this person. Been together 5 years. They know a lot about you. Unless you're a good liar, they're going to know everything. It's just impossible not to know if you really have a real relationship. I just find it odd that in people that I've known, people I talk to, or that I talk to, they just stay. They stay in relationships because they scared. They don't know their worth. They comfortable. All that. That's bullcrap in my eyes. So just like I said, my opinion, I'm happy where I'm at. I just, if somebody else is going through this, then, follow these steps. Ask yourself your whys. Make the list. Do the pros and cons. Ask yourself why you scared. Know your worth. Like, damn, if you have somebody that you can confide in, and I'm not saying this, if it's your family member or minister or coworker, I don't know. If it's somebody that you value their, opinions, you look at them like, this person holds some weight with what they say. Maybe they're in a relationship. Maybe they've been through relationships. They don't have to be in one currently, but you really trust, their judgment, or not judgment, but you just really trust their character. So if you can't figure it out yourself, I would go talk to somebody, preferably go talk to a therapist, somebody that doesn't have they don't have a dog in the fight. They're just there to listen to you and try to guide you in the right way as far as correcting your thoughts if you are having, irrational thoughts. If you're having other issues, once you tell them, they may start digging a little deeper and find out that it's a bigger problem than what is at hand. So those are the steps. I'm not gonna lie. That's just what I see. I just see it. It's the way I see it. I heard There's another podcast I was listening to. It's like the way I see it. The way I see it. You know, looking at things, take your glasses off. Take your rose tinted glasses off. Look at it for what it is. Bam! Clear. I remember I was younger, my grandfather, he wore glasses, but when he had to read before he got the little bifocal thing on the bottom, that wasn't him. It was somebody. Anyway, whoever it was, they should have to take one pair of glasses off and put some like super thick glasses on just so they can read. Yeah, maybe you need to put those super thick ones on so you can see everything clearly. You know, like the song. I can see everything. I can see things clearly now. I mean, hey, but it's your life. And if you ain't 100% happy, what's the sense? You know, or if you're not working on it to be happy, what's the sense? I'm not trying to get people to break up. Not trying to get you to quit your job. None of that. But at what point does sacrificing your happiness, you know, become a problem for you? You know, at what point of not knowing your worth is it a problem? I mean, damn. I don't know. It's just me. That's just how like I said, that's just how I think. That's why this is as a man thinks, you know. So this is actually kind of fun. Hopefully you were able to follow along and didn't think I was an a-hole or nothing like that. Just trying to pass what I have experienced, what I know, what I've learned. You know, I've been to therapy, group therapy. Me and my wife used to go to therapy. We did couples therapy. You know, all these things have helped me into becoming the person that I am right now. I'm constantly working on myself. You know, I'm constantly evolving. So I don't have all the answers. I'm just asking you that question. What are you willing ultimately to put up with? How long you gonna stay? So until next time, we out here.